Good morning. As ICE's director, Sarah R. Saldana leads the largest investigative agency within the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. In this role, Director Saldana advances ICE's mission to promote homeland security and public safety through the criminal and civil enforcement of approximately 400 federal laws governing border control, customs, trade, and immigration. Previously, Director Saldana served as a United States Attorney for the Northern District of Texas. She graduated summa cum laude from Texas A&I University and earned her Juris Doctorate degree from Southern Methodist University. Director Saldana also holds the distinction of being the first Latina appointed by President Barack Obama and confirmed by the U.S. Senate as ICE's director. Please help me welcome Director Saldana.
Good morning, everybody. I tell you, I consider it a great privilege to be here in the room with you, because while I have a very small role as the Director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, thank you so much, in the effort of helping children in the ways that people can abuse and exploit them, you all are actually the front line. You're the front line with respect to finding and bringing to justice those people who would commit heinous crimes against the most vulnerable among us. And as far as I'm concerned, you're the ones that really deserve the applause. May I give it to you? And you give it to each other. So I am very proud of being the director of ICE. I have been in Washington, D.C. for 7 months. I have never lived outside of the great state of Texas. It is a little bit of a culture shock, and I'm sure people who go the other way say the same thing. But truly, things work differently in Washington, D.C. I'm used to being in John's position, the U.S. Attorney in Texas. I am about solving crime and bringing perpetrators to justice and just going direct line A to B. In Washington, D.C., things don't work that way. They kind of go back and forth and up and down, and it's something that I've had to get used to. But you know what? Our mission is extraordinary, and I'm so pleased to be the head of this agency. I'm very proud of it. I want to tell you about some of the things that we've been doing. I hope you have heard of some of them, and if you haven't, we have a good representation of Homeland Security investigations and other ICE people here in the room. I hope you inquire further about it, because actually it is, in this case, it is true. We're from the federal government, and we're here to help. But can I see... How come I always get a laugh with that? It's a cheap laugh. Can I see the people who are part of Immigration and Customs Enforcement anywhere across the nation? Can you please stand? The rest of them are in bed, I guess, still waiting to... All right. Some of our best investigators, analysts, attorneys are here with you, and I do ask you all to get to meet them and get to know more about it. Thank you all for all you do. I'm so proud of you guys. So our experience with child exploitation, and I'm talking about ICE, goes back to the formation of the agency. You all know that Homeland Security, the department itself, which is what I'm a part of, headed by Jay Johnson, the secretary, has 7 agencies, principal agencies underneath it, all of whom are involved in Homeland Security, border protection, the agencies you might know, Citizenship and Immigration Service, Customs and Border Protection, and ICE, and agencies you may not know are part of Homeland Security, Secret Service, FEMA, Coast Guard, and one other which I cannot remember, but I'm sure it's not for lack of importance. The main objectives that we have at ICE are really straightforward when it comes to child exploitation. And let me tell you, we are helped by the fact that we are almost 20,000 strong across the world. Eric Barnett. Eric, where are you? Are you still drinking coffee outside? Eric is in our Brussels office, and so many like him in 47 countries across the world. We have attachés and other staff that work with the ambassadors in those countries. They are remarkable people. They get so much done to help us back here at home, because we all know that child exploitation is not a one-country crime. The predators are everywhere, and they're at an advantage in that, they work often on the internet. And sometimes it's very hard to get to them and to find them. But people like Eric will work with our people here in the United States, and we've got some amazing stories to tell about that. I don't know what we would do without our international presence. It is vital to our effort. So since the launch of the agency, we have started with an operation many of you all have heard of, Operation Predator, a key part of our program at ICE. We've opened since that time, now, 12 years ago. We just had the 12th anniversary of the Department of Homeland Security. 35,000 criminal investigations by our 8 or 9,000, I think, investigators across the world. 35,000. We've arrested more than 12,000 child predators. In FY14 alone, more than a million investigative hours, not between the hours of 8:30 to 5, I might say, have been logged into investigations involving crimes against children. So in my current role as ICE director, I have gained a lot of insight. Even though I was the United States Attorney and I thought I knew Homeland Security investigations and the mission of ICE, I didn't appreciate the half of it. We have very complex investigations. We could not have achieved this tremendous success that we have had without our federal, state, and local partners, without those of you who, while we conduct the investigations, find the predators and bring them to justice. There are those of you in the audience, many of you in the audience, who actually try to repair the broken lives and restore these children to try to get them back into a normal life. And so together, it is a great effort that we all put on jointly. So as just one example, I'm like a mother bragging about her children. Here we go. As just one example, you're going to have to indulge me on this. We are a big participant in Internet Crimes Against Children, or CACC task forces, with special agents assigned to CACC task forces throughout the United States. In fact, earlier this year at the Justice Department's Missing Children's Day, 2 of our special agents were recognized for their tireless efforts. HSI San Diego Special Agent William Thompson was awarded the Attorney General's Special Commendation, which recognizes an Internet Crimes Against Children, or CACC task force in the country. Agent Williams had identified 28 child victims in 10 states who were manipulated into sharing personal, sexually explicit images of themselves. And you all know how these scams work. First, the child is induced, enticed, told very nice things. The child starts a communication, and the next thing you know, photographs are exchanged, and then the threats begin of disclosure, and the child is essentially entrapped. We've also had HSI Norfolk, which with Special Agent Paul Walpert, who received the Missing Children's Child Protection Award, which honors a law enforcement officer who made a significant investigative contribution to protect children from abuse or victimization. His work uncovered the videotaped sexual abuse of children between 1 and 5 years old. Between 1 and 5 years old. His investigation led 5 women to plead guilty to producing child pornography. This is in a man's world, apparently, and the conviction and life sentence of 1 man on 31 counts, including producing child pornography. And in my personal opinion, and as United States Attorney, and I suspect John has this also, this is a top priority for prosecution for us. And quite frankly, I believe the production, manufacture, and distribution are those key crimes that we need to focus on, because those are the true perpetrators who need to be incarcerated. Now, I hope some of you have heard about our Operation Angel Watch. This is the international effort that Immigration and Customs Enforcement is involved in. Operation Angel Watch connects with all of these countries that I told you about, 47, and mind you, they reach out to other neighboring countries. Even if we don't have a presence in a particular country, we have the ability to reach out to other neighboring countries. And we exchange information. When somebody's coming into another country, we advise. If we know them to be a child predator, we advise that country through our notification system of that happening. And we expect, likewise, to be advised when it's the other way around. This is truly an international crime, and something that we, along with Customs and Border Protection, the sister agency I mentioned earlier, are very much involved in. We've got, in FY14, just to give you an idea of the extent of the exchange of information and the importance that there is in exchanging this information, we had 2,291 referrals, which were sent to more than 120 countries around the world. Much of this traffic is for the production, right? They go into another country, perhaps not as watchful, and they use children in those countries and then distribute the pornography back into the United States and around the world for that matter. We are able to do this to help stop the traffic of these people around the world. Additionally, we witness an overall 21% denial rate. This is extraordinary, and this is important, of people entering those countries based on the information we provided them. Otherwise, what would happen if these visas and entries were not denied? Think about that. In FY15 through March 30th, a total of 1,083 Angel Watch referrals had been sent across the country. And you know what? These tools that we have are so important. And I want you to know about them because I want you to be mindful to wherever we can connect with you in your efforts and what you're doing. About a few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago maybe, I was joined by the Deputy Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas of the Department of Homeland Security in opening up our C3 Center. I don't know if you've heard about the C3 Center, the Cybercrime Center. It is an extraordinary facility. It is in Northern Virginia. Do I have to shoot them now that I've told them where it is? No, I don't. But that will allow us to stay at the leading edge of the global fight against these crimes against children. This facility is a focal point for international investigations, and we've got one of everything in there. It includes the build-out of like 5,000 square feet. You know, we need every tool we've got. With an evidence vault, multiple training and conference rooms. We bring in people from all over the country to help train our agents. In addition to space for 12 computer forensics analysts, which is so vital in this work. Our forensic analysts, they're angels. We have a laboratory that has a clean room for hard disk drive repair and data recovery. I know we have one of our people from Facebook here. What did I just say? We have a clean room for the drive repair. I've seen the clean room, but the hard drives that they're able to recover and analyze and get through, I don't understand the science of it, but I'm so daggum proud of the fact that it generates leads and helps with investigations. I went into the clean room. It's like a metal box. There's nothing in it but metal. But you can go in there with a phone that you've recovered because there's the ability to wipe a phone, right? The perpetrator doesn't want you seeing the images. He knows we're closing in, and he may try to wipe the phone remotely. Does this make sense to anybody? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand this. But don't tell the criminals that the director doesn't understand half the technology. But thank goodness that we have people who do. So you go into the clean room and there are no waves. Is that the technical term? There are no waves that can get in there, and you're able to recover the images before somebody can take action to wipe them. It's a remarkable work, and I'm so proud of those people who work in C3. In fact, I think we have a couple of representatives from C3 here in Dallas today. Anybody? Where are we? Where are we out there? Okay, excellent. So, one of the other things I was shown when I went to C3 was the Victim Identification Program, or VIP, which we started back in 2011 and has really gotten into tip-top shape. It's extraordinary work that they do. They combine this current technology that's cutting edge, where you can take a photograph. I hardly can believe myself when I say this, but I saw it. You can take a photograph of a license plate that's turned, a car that's turned almost completely out of your view. You see the photograph and you can maybe make out this, maybe a part of a couple of letters. Part, not the whole thing. They can do this thing, it's magic. It's magic. They can do this thing where they can turn the car around and give you the read on the license plate. Who knew? But so important. Reading fingerprints off of a photograph of a perpetrator who has his hands out in the photograph, and you can get a read of the fingerprints. We need all of these tools in order to advance the cause of child protection and getting these people off the street. So, all these tools are available to us. We're very happy to provide you more information regarding any of these tools. We invite you to inquire about education opportunities like the one I had when I went to our C3. We will have now, I think with this last class, Katrina, I think we have every HSI office, Homeland Security Investigations office in the country, 26 of them, which have people who are trained in victim identification and these techniques that I'm talking about. So they are ramping it up. And let's not forget our smartphone app. Our smartphone app that you can put on your phone, and our ICE agents can receive tips and leads from the public. I mean, putting smartphones to use like this for law enforcement is so extraordinary. I got to tell you that Operation Predator has had tremendous results. Every time I hear a story about a child who has been rescued as a result of the efforts of the brave women and men of Homeland Security Investigations and ICE, I always say the same thing. I wish I could come up with something more clever. But it just strikes me that, all of us work all our lives, and if we're able to save one child during the course of our lives from some brutality or crime, we've earned our wings, I think. We've earned our wings. But consider the fact that these women and men, and you all, as a part of that total effort, we do this every day of our lives. We do that every day of our professional lives, and we do it many times over. We just had a case, this isn't pornography, but it's a child who was smuggled across the border, because obviously that's part of our overall mission, which is huge. But the smuggling part is also part of our effort. A child who was smuggled out, the father who was in Wisconsin paid $9,000 for this child to be smuggled in the country. But you know what happens once the child, 3 years old, gets into the country? You know what happens with these greedy criminals? They wanted $3,000 more from the father. And thank goodness, even though the mother was captured, the mother and the baby were separated when they came across the border. She alerted law enforcement, and within hours, we were busting down doors and recovering the child from from a home. I think it was right here in this area, wasn't it, Katrina? Fort Worth? I'm just in awe of the folks who work there with this effort. So I want to tell you that while we have all of these extraordinary cases that we love to talk about, I want to ask you, even though some days it can be discouraging work, some days we aren't able to save children, and some days, even with our best efforts, you just want to go home and say, do I really need to continue doing this? I'm asking you, continue your efforts, continue your work. There's another life out there, another child waiting for us to find them and to save them from the brutality at the hands of some of these criminals. So keep up the good work, and thank you for letting me have the privilege of being in the same room with you. Thank you so much.